Hello, and welcome to Unlocking Health with Dr. Lexi. And today I have Samantha Lander here, and she owns CFit Life, CFit Living. And I'd like to welcome you. So thanks for coming to join me today.
Oh, you're welcome.
So tell me a little bit about what you do and how you got to where you are today.
Okay, I am a functional diagnostic nutritionist and a personal trainer, but that's sort of on the wayside now. And I got to where I'm at just through my own like health journey and struggles through my entire life. Really, I wouldn't say I was like a sickly kid, but I always had some underlying, like I didn't feel good, but there was never a way to pinpoint what it was, and no doctor could ever figure it out. So I got band-aided with a lot of medication as a young child. I had sinus infections a ton. And so a lot of antibiotic use probably is what it sort of stemmed from. I would say that. And then I grew up like swimming in a lake all the time. So like if my stuff, I feel like that might be where it all kind of started, the catalyst for everything. And then they put me on medications left and right growing up, and I was always really, really tired and just stomach problems. So something wasn't right, but nobody knew what it was.
So if you swam in the lakes all the time, did you find that you had parasites? Because I find it's pretty common for people that do a lot of lake and river swimming that they tend to have parasites.
That's kind of when I think back of like where this has stemmed from. It's got to be just the chronic, like the constant antibiotic use. So there goes that right there. And then, kind of being in the lake, I did camping trips. Basically my summers, I lived outdoors. I was probably eating more dirt than I can tell you. So if I already have a compromised immune system, and then I'm like outside, like literally eating dirt and drinking God knows what water and living in the middle of the woods for 3 weeks, I'm sure I picked up many then. And so those probably stuck around for a very long time. Because when it came down to me, way later in life, doing a lot of testing, it was layer upon layer of parasites. I had at least 4. And I think that, obviously I don't know I don't know, I can't answer that, but I definitely think that that's where I start to see where things got really, really bad. And the only time I felt good, I can remember in high school, is when I had to make weight for a crew team. And that was like back in the okay, I'll count calories. Like, this is what I'm do. And I had to get like to a featherweight weight. And so my diet became really restrictive. And I didn't know anything about nutrition. Like I just knew count your calories and eat shit with really, really low calorie food.
Right.
But it was like very clean. It ended up being a very clean diet, but very restrictive. But that's the only time I feel like my stomach like didn't hurt, and I kind of had more energy. So when you kind of like look back and put pieces together, what I know now, I think it was like basically doing an elimination diet without knowing. And I lost a lot of the weight really fast, but before that it was constant like carb craving, sugar craving. Anything white, anything white and doughy. Just give it to me.
Yep. Now, so how did you go from being treated by more Western medicine to of a more functional standpoint? Like, what was that progression like for you?
So my dad's a doctor.
Okay.
And obviously Western medicine, there is a time and a place for everything. Okay. I'm not like anti any of that. I just think finding out the root cause before you band-aid something with medication is just key. Yeah. And many doctors are closed in the box with what they know. And so they don't want to go outside the box because it's either humiliating or they just don't know the unknown. But for me, I was in the Western medicine world until college. Junior year, I remember I got really, really heavy, and I started like teaching spinning, and I got really back into fitness. And that is when I remember just knowing something was wrong. And I went to an iridologist. So this guy read my eyes, and then I got put on Armor thyroid. And he said, and then I don't know I don't even remember what labs or what they did. And I think at that point I was probably on like I was trying to do more of like a vegan. I was probably eating soy more than, you know what I mean? Cause that was like the healthy thing at the time.
Right. Right.
And because my mom, I mean, I grew up in a very healthy home in the grand scheme of things. Like I didn't have sugar cereal. I didn't have anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got put on Armor, and I don't honestly know if that ever helped or not. I've always been sort of like a natural spiritual person in some ways.
Right.
But then, you know, I got into, you know what, honestly, I think the only way it got better is I got into doing a lot of drugs. And so I didn't have to feel how bad I felt. And it took away the anxiety of how bad I felt on a day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. So all the bloating, all the gas, every time I eat, all the diarrhea, the chronic fatigue, you know, one of my drug of choice ended up being meth, a lot of self-medicating for ADD or ADHD. And so, you know, it doesn't make you eat a lot. So I wasn't eating all these like crazy foods. Right. I didn't really drink at the time. But so I just, you know, that's what it was. And I felt good because I was always fucked up, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So that was sort of the only time I can think of when things like felt a little bit better. And that went on for a while.
You know, and that makes sense. I think a lot of listeners can relate to that, because when you're feeling like crap, you really just want to numb yourself to how you're feeling. And so it's a natural progression. I mean, you know, even look at CBD use for a lot of people. It's just to sort of numb it and calm the body down. So we're all looking for a way to just feel better and survive on a day-to-day basis. So that makes a lot of sense. I mean, everyone's got a different vice to use as far as how they feel that way. But like you said, you know, eating, I know for me personally, I lived on, and I didn't feel good, but I lived on marshmallows through college. And I'm sure that further destroyed my gut. Marshmallows and the spray. Can't believe it's not butter.
Oh my God. I used to love that. I pour that on everything.
Yeah. I would just open up the bottle and
right. I wouldn't even spray it. I would open it up. Totally. I poured on, I remember I poured on like spaghetti squash.
Yes.
Well, there goes that.
And I had no idea. I was completely fat free. So that's why I ate
that whole
marshmallows, because there's no fat. They're 10 calories a piece. And, you know, my weight was great, but I felt like junk. And I'm like, well, I don't know why. I'm thin. And in the day, I associated being thin with being healthy, which it's absolutely not. So that was my vice. Others may work out obsessively, right? So it's whatever makes you feel good and keeps you busy from focusing on that ill health that we may be feeling. So I absolutely relate, and thank you for sharing.
I'm a vice queen. If that's the case.
I know my kids are home from college now, and there's so much junk food in the house because they're two boys. They work out obsessively. So they have all, you know, the sugar for the, you know, glycogen. And then I walk into the kitchen and it's just screaming, eat me, eat me. I'm like, can you guys go back to school so I can go back to my healthier lifestyle?
I always laugh because like where I kind of keep like my stuff is in like the little twirly thing. And then it's just my kid and I, you know, my kid, he is tiny and he barely eats, and he is now kind of being like, I need shit. Like I want frosting. Like he is a little sugar crazy. But so we eat healthy. He is kind of picky, like kid food, but like, I don't want to restrict him because my parents had so little that like I went to college and I would eat like boxes of sugar cereal. So I don't want to do that. And my ex definitely won't do that. He eats kind of everything. And so it's funny because I open up my thing and it's sort of like the green natural color boxes, right? And then I open up my pantry and it's like orange and red. It's like Ritz crackers. I'm like, that is marketing right there. I don't even want to look in my cabinet because whatever this color is, it's like, give it to me. Because they do that. Those colors are like it's like totally the colors that people will buy the food. Kraft macaroni and cheese. It's like the Ritz crackers. Like everything is red and orange in there. And I'm like,
My pantry is so small in this house, and I always complain, oh, we need to redo the kitchen so I can have a bigger pantry. Once I cleaned out all that processed food, I'm like, I don't even need a pantry anymore.
Because it all has to go in your fridge,
Yeah,
right?
because I everything's in the fridge. Um, so that's that. I'm really glad you shared that because I can absolutely relate to it. Um, I know you got into working out, and with your business, you offer a variety of different services for people. So you do a lot of functional nutrition testing and lab testing. You do some personal training as well. Um, Tell me, what do you love as far as working with clients? Like what drives you? What do you like as far as helping people on their journeys?
So the best is when you get someone in and they're like, I've done everything. I don't even know what to do anymore.
Mhm.
I'm basically, it's like my thing I put all over when I post on anything. It's, they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they
Yep.
are doing all the right things. Like they are going to the gym, or they've tried this. They definitely tried most of the stuff. They try to go to the gym. They try to take some sort of supplements. They try to eat right. They try to do all the right things, sleep, drink water, and they still get zero results, and they almost feel worse.
Mhm.
And they're just like hopeless, and they don't know what to do. And to give someone like the hope that there's going to be an answer is the best thing in the world. And then when that answer, when it actually works out, because I'll never promise anything, obviously. I definitely have some tough clients, but I'm kind of a bulldog. So if I'll find it. I had one client that's like, she's an example is she's she's heavier, but she's like doing it. She's working the program. We've gotten rid of the parasites. We've gotten rid of everything. And, I was like, this is something else. It's something else. I'm like, this seems like I think it's SIBO. Like, I just was like, I don't think it's heavy metals. I don't think it's mold. I don't. And so we do the SIBO breath test on her. Turns out
Mhm.
she has SIBO right in the program. Like, she's already just dropping weight. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mhm.
and she feels good. Like a lot of things are better. She had chronic diarrhea. There's a lot of factors, but she wants to lose some weight. That's one of her goals. And which is great. And I had another client, she was talking about, I'm like, so when are you doing your hormone panel or your Dutch test? And she's like, I was like, is it day 19 yet? She's like, well, I just got my period like yesterday. I didn't even know it was coming. And I'm like, well, imagine that. Like, because she had chronic PMS all month and felt like she felt like she had her period or was PMSing or
Mhm.
ovulating all month, all the time. So I'm like, isn't that amazing how it just like, when you don't have to have those symptoms. So, I have a guy,
Yep.
another example, there's a guy with some like mold toxicity, he just struggles and he's trying to figure that out. So, I love helping people and giving them hope. I've been through it. I've been totally dragged through practitioner after practitioner. I've had where some have helped and many have not. I've spent probably over $50,000 on my health or
Right.
more. Just a lot of it like money lost for sure, which, I've learned a lot through the process of failure, with that testing and working with people, which is
Mhm.
great because it makes me a better practitioner. I just don't want other people to have to go through that when they feel that bad on top of it. So I think that's sort of a bonus, and I can really, I can relate. It's like the whole, you gotta be, the empathy.
Right.
I've had doctors fire me. Like a lot of people don't even know how to go talk to a doctor because they try to be an advocate for themselves and they get undermined it. So it's,
Happens way too often.
oh yeah, even to me, it does.
Uh-huh. Um, one thing I like now is being able to pull my own lab, so I don't have to go in as often to ask for a lab and get
Yeah. Oh
pushback
yeah.
on it. One thing I really like and appreciate about doing labs is we're not shooting from the hip. And when we're using functional lab values and functional labs, we're really tightening those ranges down so we can find those underlying issues for our clients that normative data that's just comparing us to already sick people doesn't find. So I think that's a great bonus that you offer to your clients. Do you recommend that is there any certain specific tests that you recommend that someone have?
So I typically will run the Dutch panel, which is a hormone and adrenal panel that does organic acids, and then it will test like your neurotransmitters, all your hormones, and it does a 24-hour snapshot of your cortisol, which I really, really like.
Mhm.
It's not just like a one single blood serum, and I mean, urine is just super accurate. And then I do a food sensitivity test, and that kind of hones in the diet, so it kind of gives the guessing game out of the elimination diet and kind of jump starts them then. And then I do a full comprehensive GI panel.
Okay.
So,
I heard your dog there.
don't worry.
No, no, he was cute. He just kind of.
He's like,
I love it. I love it. And so what kind of results can people expect? How long does it take for them to start to see results?
I can never just like say that. So with the food one, everybody feels good, pretty right. They definitely feel like, I would say like a 30% like better increase of how they feel.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is like too, like the mental part of being proactive about your health. The
Mhm.
hormone one, if it's a pretty easy fix, usually within a month. Definitely a month probably for a guy. For a female, it can take maybe 2 cycles. It depends if we're pulling them off birth control or what we're doing.
Mhm.
And then it really depends on what's going on in the gut. If you have like a parasite and some sort of bacterial thing, that takes a little longer, so you might be stuck. You might get a little better and then kind of stuck for a while till those protocols are done, especially if SIBO. I find that one's like after you're done with it, and then shit, it's like boom. If it's just a parasite, typically once that's through, like during that process, you're feeling better. I mean, maybe in the beginning a little bit, but off.
I know there's all sorts of, people can read on the internet. Parasites tend to be this buzzword right now. What do you find is the best way to address parasites, or some of these issues? What tools do you have in your toolbox to do that?
So I'm really picky about how my labs are run and what lab I use. A lot of people use GI map. I can run that, but I use parasitology. I love them. I do a 6-day stool sample. I try to do it during the full moon. I do a biofilm breakdown before. A lot of people do not, because they think it messes with how their digestion results. I also do no probiotics or antibiotics 2 weeks prior. So I'll do that test, and depending what comes back, all except for SIBO are all done with like herbal multi-herb supplements. SIBO, I'll do the antibiotics and the supplements.
Okay.
Typically.
Okay. Fantastic. And what's it like working with you for someone to get started? What, is there a way to reach you, and how does that process go?
You just have to secretly find me. Okay. No, yes, I'm all over Instagram. That's such a lie. So I put a ton of content and ton of like health tips and stuff on Instagram, which is it's CFit Living, well, SEEFIT, and then living. And then I do a free 45-minute discovery call. So that's basically you book it, and I do like an extensive health history. I listen to your story. I ask a million questions. From basically the day you were born into where we are today and where you want to be. And then that is sort of what I offer to someone. And then we kind of see if I can help them, or if I have to refer out, I'm happy to do that. Like, I'm not anti that. And then I get them into a plan that kind of fits their lifestyle, their budget, and what they need to feel better.
Perfect. Perfect. And so I know you said you're on Instagram, and then I will link down below also the website, your Instagram, all that, so everyone can get a hold of you. What would you like to be the takeaway that you have for potential clients or anyone that's interested in learning more about this?
I think it's really important to be proactive and not reactive about your health. And that, don't wait till you feel awful, where a lot of my clients are, where I was, or, if you feel like something's off, listen to your body, listen to your gut, really.
Right.
And that, don't wait, because you only have one body to live in, and, you want to be your best body. So a lot of my clients, so a lot of people just wait until they're so run down and so broken. It just takes a lot more time to heal. So you need to be like really self-aware of yourself. I work with a lot of like entrepreneurs that it's not even about like what you look like and your weight. It's like, if you want your mental game to be on point, this stuff matters. You
The
know,
energy, the clarity.
everybody should do it. I feel like, because it really taps into any industry too. Like if you're like a business owner, CEO, and you're just like, man, the brain fog is insane. Like I just can't get up. I need to be on point. Like that's one reason to like run. If you're a stay-at-home mom and you're parenting kids all day long, you know, I think that that's important. And the biggest thing is, you know, the trickle effect that you see is I love, especially is like, okay, if you have a family, they're going to learn from you, and they may not be on your wife or whoever, they might not be on board at first, but they will see what you have and they're going to want it.
Absolutely.
And there's going to be people hating on you and doing all that stuff, but someone will see what you have and want it, and your kids are going to see it, and then your kids are going to change that. It goes down, you know, my kid he already knows like a carb, a fat, and a protein. You got to never have a carb alone. I mean, he doesn't like practice it, but he knows like what the stuff is. So he's going to know about nutrition and health. He lives in a gym, you know, during COVID, he was in a gym the entire time with me working. So, and my ex was a gym owner. And so there's a lot, you got to teach the younger generation, because we won't be here forever.
And that's, you know, that's one thing I always harp on, is that the more that we do to change our health, we show the younger generation what to do. And hopefully we can break those patterns. And our world today is so much more toxic than it was when our parents grew up. So as processed foods and everything's easy to get a hold of, the quicker health is going to degenerate. And if we start demanding better food and lifestyle choices and the ability to do that, it's just going to be a win-win for everybody. So,
yep.
So
Sure.
I really appreciate your time. I love what you have to offer. And like I said, I'm a big proponent of lab work. And then just, you know, integrating small changes, lifestyle changes all day. But this way you have a concrete answer as to why you're feeling like crap, and then a verifiable plan that you can do going forward to heal that. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Test, don't guess.
That's great. I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.